सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत प्यार भरा आदाब, नमस्कार and good afternoon. Welcome to Apna Radio, broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. Each Thursday from 3 to 4, I'm here broadcasting from the studio to the world. Tune me in. सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत प्यार भरा आदाब, नमस्कार and good afternoon. You're very welcome to the program. You're listening to Apna Radio, Apna Dublin Radio, broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. Yes, I'm here until 4 o'clock and India time 7:30. 8:30 actually, from 7:30 to 8:30. Hopefully you'll be with me, and indeed wherever you're listening me from, Dubai, London, or wherever you are. This is your own local broadcaster, Zaidi, broadcasting at 93.9 Dublin South FM. We try to bring you the world of news, current affairs, and the shape of the world that is shaping up the rest of the world. And the troubled world, particularly the troubled world, and my effort to create a peace through my program, because this program is all about peace in the world. This is also the theme of the 16th Indian Film Festival of Ireland that will take place from 5th of September till the 7th of September here in Dublin at the Nutgrove multiplex, newly open Nutgrove Cinema and Omniplex, and also at the Smurfit Business School, Carrisford College in Blackrock. So that's the nutshell of the film festival, which I'll be looking into it in detail, and of course a dedicated program with our own local broadcaster Patrick will be made on that itself. But like anything else, before I go into the body of the program, what is entail today's program, I would try to actually give you some sort of indication that it's going to be it's going to be interesting program, because Charmain is here with the news, and Sharad has got to put together another horrendous news from India. Though Charmain is here with the news called India This Week. So Charmain, you take it away.
Good afternoon, I'm Charmain Colvin, and here is your news update on Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. On India This Week, 𝐤𝐤𝐧𝐚, regarded as the oldest Indian person and the first centenarian to complete a full marathon, has died at the age of 114 after he was struck by a vehicle near his village in Punjab. Singh, who claimed to be born in 1911, completed the Toronto Waterfront Marathon in 2011 when he was 100. He had registered his best time in a full marathon at the same event in 2003, finishing the race in 5 hours and 40 minutes. He was not included in the Guinness Book of World Records due to the lack of a birth certificate, as birth records were not kept in India in 1911. Police have arrested a man in connection with 𝐤𝐤𝐧𝐚's death. According to police, Amritpal Singh Dhillon was driving a speeding SUV when he struck the 114-year-old Indian runner. The hit-and-run occurred near 𝐤𝐤𝐧𝐚's birthplace of Bispind, close to Jalandhar city. According to Indian media reports citing the police complaint, the runner's life might have been saved had the 26-year-old driver immediately taken Singh to hospital. Singh carried the Olympic torch at the 2012 Olympics and had a letter from the Queen congratulating him on his 100th birthday. Although the preliminary report into what caused the loss of Air India Flight 171 last month has provided some answers, it has also prompted a wave of speculation about its cause. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner crashed into a building less than a minute after takeoff from the city of Ahmedabad in western India en route to London, killing 241 people on board, along with 19 on the ground. Only one passenger survived. The 15-page preliminary document was issued last weekend by India's Air Accident Investigation Bureau, but does not set out any conclusions as to the cause of the accident. In its account of the accident flight, the AAIB states that 2 fuel cut-off switches were moved from the run to the cut-off position seconds after takeoff. This deprived the engines of fuel and caused them to lose thrust. Although data from the flight recorder shows the engines were subsequently restarted, it was too late to prevent the crash. Some commentators have claimed that the accident was the result of deliberate and intentional action by one of the pilots, a view that invoked an angry response from the Indian Commercial Pilots Association, who say the allegations are deeply insensitive to the individuals and families involved. International protocols stipulate that a final report should be published within a year of the accident. However, in practice, experts say it can take a lot longer than that. This week, Tesla has launched its Model Y in India at around $70,000, a significant markup relative to its other major markets, reflecting the country's high tariffs on electric vehicle imports, which CEO Elon Musk has long criticised. With deliveries estimated to start from the third quarter, the US automaker is targeting a niche electric vehicle segment in India that accounts for just 4% of overall sales in the world's third largest car market. It will compete mainly with German luxury giants such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz and South Korea's Kia, rather than domestic mass-market EV players such as Tata Motors and Mahindra. Tesla opened its first showroom in Mumbai on Tuesday and began taking Model Y orders on its website, marking its long-awaited entry into the Indian market. Currently, Tesla will import cars into India, where tariffs and related duties can exceed 100%, driving up the price for consumers. The US EV maker has long lobbied India for lower import tariffs on cars, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's officials remain in talks with US President Donald Trump's administration to lower the levies under a bilateral trade deal. Astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla, who created history by becoming the first Indian ever to set foot on the International Space Station, has returned to Earth. A live broadcast showed the Axiom 4 mission, which undocked from the orbiting laboratory with its 4-member crew on Monday, splashing down off the coast of San Diego, California. Led by former NASA veteran Peggy Whitson and piloted by Group Captain Shukla, AX-4 had arrived at ISS on the 26th of June. Shukla is only the second Indian to have gone to space. His trip came 41 years after cosmonaut Rakesh Sharma flew aboard a Russian Soyuz in 1984. AX-4, a commercial flight operated by Houston-based private firm Axiom Space, was a collaboration between NASA, India's space agency, ESA, and SpaceX. Referring to India's first man in space, Rakesh Sharma, who famously quoted from a 1924 Urdu song that India looked better than the rest of the world, Captain Shukla said that from space, India still looked better than the rest of the world. A rare oil portrait of Indian independence leader Mahatma Gandhi has been sold at auction in London for £152,800. The figure is much higher than the auction house Bonhams had estimated. It was painted in 1931 by British artist Claire Leighton when Gandhi visited London. Bonham said the painting is thought to be the only oil portrait Gandhi sat for. The portrait was made when Gandhi went to London in 1931 for the Second Round Table Conference, held to discuss constitutional reforms for India and address its demand for self-governance. And finally, Britain's King Charles commiserated with India's crestfallen cricket stars on Tuesday in the aftermath of their painful defeat against England at Lord's. Charles consoled members of the Indian team when he hosted them at Clarence House, less than 24 hours after the third test ended in agonising loss for the tourists. India, chasing 193 to win, were beaten by 22 runs in the final session of the last day. India trailed 2-1 in the 5-match series, with the fourth test scheduled for Old Trafford next week before the finale at the Oval in London. So that's all from me. You have been listening to India This Week on Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Great. Thank you so much indeed, Charmain. And that was Charmain Colvin actually talking about the India This Week and what a news she has put together. Amazing that with the commiseration of the cricket team, obviously, and all that. But this is exactly what India looks like it for this week, and summer is scorching heat is happening in the north of India, and a lot of people are fleeing away on the hills of the cooler hills of Himachal Pradesh, and of course in Kashmir and all the other places and all that. So that's the temperature is soaring actually, about in 40s and kind of like above 40s. But in coastal cities like Mumbai and all these places, it's still not that bad, but it's still very hot, in fact. Now, talking about weather aside, you probably would know that this program is also trying to actually create, through its highlighting the issues which are engulfing the economy, engulfing the tension and all the rest of it, from the world into ourselves here in Europe. So therefore, I am going to focus it on particularly the latest announcement of Mr. Donald Trump, the despicable individual of the world, the most despicable, the most hateful individual who has shaken up the economy of the world, who has created a panic, and trying to actually create a tariff in Europe for 30%. 1st of August is a deadline. Hopefully it will pass and he will back off and he will come to the senses like previous times, because he's now known at not sticking to his threats, but 30% tariff will really drown Ireland, because Ireland and US have got a huge business trade link, and it would be tit for tat, and it would be bad for the American goods and services coming into Ireland. But more concerned is to what's going out from Ireland to US is one thing. And the other major thing that he has, this despicable individual has announced is selling the patriotic missiles, batteries, to Zelensky, to Ukraine. Now, patriotic missiles, as you know, the patriotic missiles are one of the deadliest missile systems in the world, and he has agreed to sell it to Russia, to Ukrainian Zelensky, President Zelensky, for Ukrainian against the Russians. Now, that will obviously going to annoy big time Vladimir Putin, and Putin is no chicken. He's not a kind of an individual who back off lightly on any of these kind of threats. But the hardcore missile system has been denied to Zelensky for a long time, and Zelensky has been actually jumping like a poodle up and down to Americans, and particularly to the Donald Trump to give them a more defense system. So what it means to give him the most advanced patriotic missile system of the world, which America holds, and who will pay for it? That's what it is. Europe will pay for it. Europe have estimated, in fact, 350 billion euros and dollars, whatever. Well, euros and dollars are pretty much the same. But 350 billion euros will be going to the black hole of the war in Ukraine versus Russia. What I don't understand is that in the world, we have a peacekeeping forces sitting there with the binoculars watching something at the border of Israel and Palestine in Lebanon, doing nothing, not stopping a war. And latest is that Israel has started bombing Syria. So Israel is the one which is a culprit in the region. We all know that had been in the witness. We're witnessing on our television screen every night their strategy of killing and mass killing of people at the so-called humanitarian genocidal city called Gaza. Now, that has been, affirmed by the former Israeli leader called, his name is, you probably would know all of them, Prime Minister, his previous Prime Minister, 𝐀𝐩𝐧𝐚 𝐑𝐚𝐝. 𝐀𝐻𝐭 𝐬𝐡𝐨 is a former Prime Minister of Israel, and he is very critical of Israel in terms of what he says that former Israeli leader says that planned humanitarian city in Gaza could be a concentration camp. Now, frightful word, concentration camp. And he was deported into a new humanitarian city. Then he can say that he's a part of the ethnic cleansing. So this is a report from CNN, which I'm quoting it, that a planned humanitarian city inside Gaza intended to hold hundreds of thousands of Palestinians would be in a concentration camp. That's what he says that. And Defense Minister Israel 𝐀𝐻𝐧𝐚 says that last week that he had told military to advance plans for the zone, which would eventually contain the entire population of Gaza. The area would be built to the ruins of the city of Rafah in the southern Gaza. And once Palestinians enter the zone, they would not be allowed to leave. And 𝐀𝐻𝐧𝐚 says that also vowed to implement a plan for the immigration of the Palestinian from Gaza. It is a concentration camp. He says that, I'm sorry to say that, but Olmert says that in the Guardian newspaper. He reported that on Sunday. He says that Palestinians will be deported into the new humanitarian city. Then you can say that this is a part of the ethnic cleansing. Now, I mean, when the world is beginning to hear all of that, not beginning, but been constantly hearing about that, but things are falling on the deaf ears. And that is the frustrating aspect of the thing, is that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, and the arrest warrant has been issued by the International Criminal Court of Justice. That has been, brushed aside. By the way, the current, the contest of the mayor of New York, Mamdani, this was his name, is Zohran Mamdani, who is the son of the filmmaker Mira Nair, is contesting a very good campaign, in fact. And he says that if he gets elected, and if the American, the Israeli president comes to New York, he'll get him arrested. But these are, as I said, kind of like a low-level rumors, because I don't know whether Mamdani will be able to get elected against the heavyweights of New York and all that exists there. But he's conducting a campaign, and he's very much ahead of the game in many ways. He's using Bollywood as a gesture by, hanging around the trees, using the Shah Rukh Khan open hands gestures in order to conduct his campaign and all that. But that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to actually raise is that the rest of the world is not paying attention to this genocide unfolding in front of their eyes, and nobody is happy to raise voices. The bill that has been debated in Ireland, in Irish Parliament, about the Israeli trade mission bill of the occupied territory, occupied trade bill, that has been strongly opposed by the American ambassador to Ireland, who is a friend of Donald Trump. No surprise. So this is what is going on at that part of the world. And daily killing of average of 70, 100 people when they're lined up to get water and food. Now, how come humanity can accept that? Humanity can actually, and sometimes, these news pictures are blinkered and been, removed from the news items of certain countries, so you don't even know that it's happening. But Ireland still have a moral currency. Ireland still have a moral bone, and therefore they do show it, and it gets affect people like myself, who is a media person, who is a broadcaster, who is a conscious man, with the conscience, I would say. So that is, and of course our Prime Minister, also Taoiseach, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and all those people are actually screaming at the top of their voices, but nothing is happening. Nobody is stopping. So my suggestion on air, I'm trying to actually tell that what the peacekeeping forces are doing in the world. Do we have a peacekeeping? Yes, we do have a peacekeeping forces in the world. but the millions goes to supporting them, to maintaining them, and our Irish peacekeeping forces are there as well on the border of Lebanon and Israel, but they are just quietly sitting there in the bunkers and enjoying their life and hospitality of the Lebanese government, not doing much to control and to stop this genocide literally yards away from there. If they want, they can go in there and start stopping the army. Anyway, that's not going to happen. I'm going to take the second clip of the Sharad Awasthi. Sharad has actually put together the very interesting piece about the deaths in India, on the road deaths in India. So sit back, relax, and listen to what Sharad has got to say.
Everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.
It is great to be on Dublin South 93.9 FM.
Dublin South FM is proud to announce the launch of the Dublin South Podcast Studio. Located in the Dundrum Town Centre, the Dublin South Podcast Studio provides creators and businesses the environment and expertise to produce high-quality podcasts designed to help keep you engaged with your audience. We provide a full podcast production service, including studio recording time, editing, and all post-production requirements. To find out more, please visit our website at www.dublinsouthpodcaststudio.ie or contact us at 01 296 5027. That's 01 296 5027.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
In a world obsessed with youth and speed, there is this one man who shattered the stereotype, and that is not with rebellion, but with a resolve. Born in Punjab, India, 1911, this man, called 𝐀𝐩𝐧𝐚 Singh, didn't run his first marathon until he was 89-year-old. And he kept running mile after mile and decades after decade. So when he turned 100, he completed the Toronto Waterfront Marathon, and he became the oldest person ever to run a full marathon. The world took notice of him, and way back in 2004, Adidas, the sporting company, they featured him in the iconic Impossible is Nothing campaign. So he had this unbreakable spirit, radiant smile, and he just didn't become a brand ambassador to a sporting goods. He was a living embodiment of inspiration. Today, when the athletes have a very strict sort of a resume of sculpted body, age, and performance, here, this is this 100-year-old, a Sikh farmer, showing that endurance is as much about will as it is about muscles. He didn't run marathon. He ran straight into the history and reminded all of us that age is a number, but courage is eternal. Why I am talking about 𝐀𝐩𝐧𝐚 Singh today? Because a couple of days ago, this icon died. And he died because of a road hit and run case. What a sad and a horrible way to bring an iconic life to a closure. What an unfortunate way of bringing a precious life to its end. And that brings me to the topic of the day, the real issue of India today, the road safety, the accidents in India. Every day, nearly 460 people do not return home from a journey they started with no intention to die. Road accidents in India have reached epidemic proportions, and it is just not in numbers, but in sheer preventability of deaths. Every household in India have at least one member or more who have lost in a road accident. There is every household in India which have a loved one who has been injured, and probably life-changing injury still continues with them. All this is preventable. India ranks among the worst globally in terms of road safety, and it accounts for over 11% of the world's road fatalities, despite having just 1% of world's vehicles. And the reasons are many: poor infrastructure, lax enforcement of traffic rules, driver training, and a sheer apathy. It's so common. It's so normal. A few years ago, we saw the tragic demise of an iconic industrialist, Cyrus Mistry, in a seemingly mundane journey gone wrong, where the road signs and the infrastructure was poor at that spot. He wasn't wearing the seatbelt, which is a safety feature, and that brought end to a life affecting his loved ones, his business empire, his shareholders, and the aspirations he was carrying to take forward the Tata Group, or for that matter, his own company. His own company has a business in 100 countries, and that all aspirations were cut short by this simple, preventable accident. And the irony is that he was one of the two passengers in the back seat who were not wearing the seatbelt, while the front passengers and the driver were wearing seatbelt, and they survived. But then we also have the Pune Porsche crash involving underage drunk driver, and the case is still going on. The court is lenient. The judge asked this juvenile, I wouldn't say juvenile because he was few months short of 18th birthday and 6 years short of legal drinking age. And the judge said, write an essay about road safety in 300 words. So that is our enforcement. The two lives lost, again, the lives who had crossed the state boundaries from Madhya Pradesh into Pune, pursuing their dreams. With full life ahead, they were in their early 20s, and all those lives came to an abrupt end because of this underage drunk driver. So India's road accidents and deaths cut across all classes, all ages, and they only point to a systemic rot in the way India views, regulates, legislates, and responds to road mobility. 4.6 lakh road accidents is reported every year, and 1.6 lakh people die. That's averaging 460 deaths daily, one every 4 minutes. So who are the contributing states in India? Uttar Pradesh, highest number of deaths, 22,500 in year 2022. Tamil Nadu, highest number of accidents, 57,000 in a year. And the top 6 are Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Karnataka. So it is across India. It is just not one state which has a problem. It's across north, south, east, west. And what are the causes? Overspeeding, which is responsible for about 70% of the deaths. Drunk driving. How do we check that? 6% of the fatal accidents are due to drunk driving. Driving on the wrong side. This is another one because of the traffic jams. People cross over onto the other side, on the wrong side. And this is more common in urban cities, in urban areas. Overloading of trucks and buses because of the commercial reasons. The owner want to earn more per journey. So the buses are overloaded, the trucks are overloaded, and there is no regulation to manage that. Of course, there is a poor road design and maintenance. Have you seen the bridge in Bhopal which turns at 90 degrees? Or there are no manned railway crossings, potholes, road maintenance, unmarked speed breakers. The list is enormous. But then, who can forget Cyrus Mistri's death because of not wearing the seatbelt? The two-wheelers, the cause of death is often not wearing the helmet. So there is this case in Uttar Pradesh in 2023 where the 14 people of the marriage party died when their bus got stuck on the track, the railway track, and they were run over because there was no gate barrier, there was poor lighting, and of course the driver overconfidence with the alcohol use. So if you see the statistics, there are 10,000 level crossings across the country, of which 1,000 remain unmanned. Not a high number considering that India has nearly 100,000 kilometers of railroads. But then these are the hotspots. The sheer volume of cargo vehicles in India, and many of them overloaded beyond legal limits, have resulted in fatal overturning accidents. And when they are carrying inflammable cargo, that not only is killing the driver, but also by the bystanders. So why are Indian roads so deadly? Potholes cause nearly 3,500 deaths annually. Encroachment is another reason, where the roads may be broad, but then it's the people who have started to get into the space. The speed breakers do not have a visible marking, and that makes the vehicle jump over the ramp, hitting the bystanders, and of course, the emergency response gap. For a road accident in India, the response is not to wait for the ambulance or the emergency responders. It's the faith, it's the goodwill of the pedestrians, of the people around to carry the injured to the nearest hospital. The concept of golden hour is not known to the Indian drivers. And this first hour of the accident, the most important one, is often wasted in deciding by the goodwill of the people nearby whether to take a picture on their mobile phones or to carry somebody into their own vehicle and take them to the hospital. Many do not want to help the accident victims because they fear, terribly scared of the harassment that they would undergo through the hands of the police. And this stark difference between the response of a person willing to help and the death of a person is breaking the humanity of Indians on the road, just because people are scared of the law enforcement. So what is government's response? It's so patchy, it's so slow, it's so meaningless. There are laws, Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019, which just increased some penalties for violation, drunk driving, 10,000 rupees, insurances, some fitness and license enforcement stickers, e-challan. They do not make any sense when millions of vehicles are on the Indian roads. And in fact, the opposition governments at the state, like West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Punjab, they have refused to implement this key provision of changes in the Motor Vehicle Act. So there is a lack of will, both in the general population and in the policy making of the country with reference to the road accidents and the road safety. There is a cultural and a structural gap when it comes to the road safety. There is no structured driving training curriculum for Indians. We in the schools or in workplace are not taught road ethics in the school. The road ethics probably don't exist in India. You can see policemen on two-wheelers without their helmets on. You can see 3 policemen on a two-wheeler riding arrogantly through the cities. Hit and run culture is prevalent across, and especially those who belong to the affluent families. And then when the accident happens, it's these powerful and rich families make effort, as we have seen in the Pune Porsche case, taking all measures to do the cover-up. And why should we not forget the VIP culture, which routinely flout the traffic norms? They don't wear seat belts, including our top politicians of the country. And that is eroding the public morale. So we have a fatalistic attitude to road deaths, and we treat it as an inevitable event of life. There is no moral panic when a single death happens on the road. It's so normal. But then we should also compare when we say India is developing and we will be a developed country in another 20 years. Look at the model that Sweden has followed. They have a Vision Zero model where they aim to bring down 0 road deaths. Why can't the Indian politicians at least start talking about it? At least make a slogan out of it. At least the Prime Minister in his 15th August speech talk about 0 road deaths. That intention, that willingness is missing. And that is the problem. People might say, oh, well, Sweden is a small country, they are a developed country. No, India is a large country, but then it has equally large resources. The deaths per 1,000 people in India is 6 to 8 times more than Sweden. And the average speed with which the vehicles move in Sweden is much higher than that in India. Therefore, if somebody talks about infrastructure, we are lagging. If we are talking about the culture, we are unwilling to adapt and learn from the best practices of the world. And how we respond to an accident, we do not have a law. We do not have a system where the accidents can be located, the emergency responders can be at the place and help the victim survive through the first hour, through the golden hour of the trauma. So if we want to see where do we go from here, it's the government failure, it's the public failure, and again I say it's a moral catastrophe. Every accident resulting in an injury, in a loss of life, brings end to an aspiration, brings an end to a dream. It shatters family, it shatters business, it shatters the entire chain of goodness that the humanity can provide. And certainly, 1.6 lakh deaths a year cannot be a normal in India, but it is. And this unfortunate statistics must stop. We must start talking about stopping this 1.6 lakh deaths a year. Dear friends, we have come to the end of this discussion. By this time, we have already lost 10 to 15 lives in India. With that sorry state of affairs, I leave you until next week. I come back with another real issue of India. Stay safe, stay informed, and dutifully ask questions. Bye for now.
Indeed, 93.9 Dublin South FM, and what a lovely item, Sharad, as you put together. The frightening, actually, that on the roads, on the Indian roads, the deaths, and particularly these athletes, the national figure, the national treasure, should I say, crossing over 100 years of his life, 100 and, from Punjab, hit by the hit and run incident, which Charmain has also covered in the story in the news item. What a sad state of affair is, and it's indeed what is the state of affair is on the roads of India when it comes to driving, when it comes to drink and drive, when it comes to the truck drivers. I had a horrendous experience years and years ago when I was in Delhi, actually. And I was returning back from somebody's house after a dinner party, and I was stuck in the middle of the two trucks, my car, in other words. I was not driving, obviously. I was sitting in behind the seat, and the driver was driving it. But in between the two trucks, the line of two trucks, because the trucks are started at 11 o'clock at night, and my car was stuck, and you cannot see anything. It was horrendous. It was horrific, because the air condition was on in the car, but the fumes from these two lorries, the row of lorries, were being so toxic that you can feel that inside the car. And I felt like choking really out there. I will never, ever forget that incident at all. There's so many things that India need to be improved, despite the fact that it is a growing so-called Viksit Bharat developing country and all the rest of it. But when it comes to the safety on the roads, safety on the airplane, as Charmain has put together the background story of that unfortunate flight from Hyderabad, it's just, sort of stands to reason to believe that it's not a developed country. It's not a country to, compare with the Europe and to the rest of the developed world. Such is the state of affair. What can I say? That is absolutely a very, very, very sad state of affair, and hopefully it'll improve with the politicians. I think talking about the politicians, I think the bad image of politicians, pan chewing, the waistcoat, Nehru coat wearing, pajama and kurta people, these kind of netas and these people, they don't give a damn about these development things at all. They're just enjoying themselves, cutting ribbons, going to inaugurations, and have access to the crores and crores of rupees, so-called politicians. That's all they are. Anyway, I'm not there to criticize too much about it, but the fact of the matter is that is the sad state of affair. I am in mood to take a track, and Hindi track, of course. Hindi track is there. So I will play a song, and after the song, I'm going to introduce a new concept that we might be introducing it fairly soon about the program about something else which is completely different. But wait until the song finishes and I'll talk about that.
Broadcasting from the Dundrum Town Centre, this is Dublin South FM.
Are you part of a local community group or representative organisation active in the Dun Laoghaire Rathdown area? Why not join a network of over 400 such groups in the Dun Laoghaire Rathdown Public Participation Network? You can join the group, influence local policy, get regular updates about funding and other opportunities, connect with other groups like yours, publicise your group, and even get free training and support. Make sure your voice is heard through DLR Public Participation Network as a registered group in the county. Dun Laoghaire Rathdown Public Participation Network. For full information, find us online at dlrppn.ie. That's dlrppn.ie.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
झिलमिल सितारों का आंगन होगा, रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा। झिलमिल सितारों का आंगन होगा, रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा। ऐसा सुंदर सपना अपना जीवन होगा। छोटा सा घर बनाएंगे प्रेम की गली में, हो प्रेम की गली में एक छोटा सा घर बनाएंगे। कलियां ना मिले ना सही कांटों से सजाएंगे, बगिया से सुंदर वो बन होगा। रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा।
झिलमिल सितारों का आंगन होगा,
रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा। फिर तो मस्त हवाओं के हम झोंके बन जाएंगे, फिर तो मस्त हवाओं के, फिर तो मस्त हवाओं के हम झोंके बन जाएंगे।
नैना सुंदर सपनों के झरोखे बन जाएंगे, मन आशाओं का दर्पण होगा।
झिलमिल बरसता सावन होगा, सुंदर सपना अपना जीवन होगा झिलमिल सितारों का आंगन होगा रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा रिमझिम बरसता सावन होगा सावन होगा
That's a super hit Gana, Rim Jim, Purane Gane, old songs, old is gold, and Itna Jilmil Sitaron Ka Angan Hoga, an imagination of a couple who wants to live in a so-called utopian world of flowers, peaceful land, beautiful weather, and all the rest of it, that every couple, every human beings imagine. And for that, you struggle in life to make that place on earth, wherever you live. It doesn't matter which part of the world you live in. You struggle to make your Jivan Jilmil Sitaron Ka Angan Hoga. Anyway, that's a beautiful song. Anyway, it's my favorite, one of my favorites. The point I was trying to actually refer to you just before this song was that I'm toying with the idea with a very talented actress and a poetess, shaira in India, in Mumbai, called Ruhani. Now, that's her. Ruhani is her pen name. She writes under this pen name. She's an actress. And Ranita Kapoor, her name is. And she's worked in television series and television and the theatre artist and all the rest of it. So Ranita and myself talked about it, and we just connected on the social media. And she suggested this wonderful, kind of an idea that we could talk about her, letters. She's, as I said, she writes beautifully, poetry. Shaira means shire. Shire is a poet in Urdu, in Hindi. And so Ranita is a lovely writer. And of course, she's an actress as well. So we would be talking about this wonderful series of the things that might be part of this program. And we launched this series of talking about issues relating to human love, love between the two sexes, in fact, male and female, the lovers. Old novels, old films, old love stories are written about this wonderful concept of love when it works. But what goes wrong with that then? Why it doesn't always work? That's another aspect of that. So we will be doing a question and answer sessions. I will be asking questions and she'll be answering it, and vice versa. And we will continue that. And each conversation will end up with Ruhani's letters. Ruhani's letter means the letters that she is writing under the pen name of Ruhani. And I would be addressing her Ruhani Sahiba, and she might address me as Siraj Nawab Sahab. That is our fictitious name. Well, my name is not totally fictitious. It's part of the reality as well. It's quite true, actually. So we would be addressing each other, from that name rather than the real name. And indeed, we will talk about it. In fact, human connection is all about talking. It's all about conversation. It's all about discussing ideas, opening up, and all that. So what is the barrier when writers write something about it? When a poet writes a poetry, just like in this song, we have a poet imagining Jilmil Sitaron Ka Angan Hoga. All of that is a part of imagination of a writers. But so we will be starting that fairly soon, not next week, maybe week after. I probably may not be around. You'll probably be listening a repeat program next week because I am going on holidays. Anyway, I should be announcing on the radio this particular thing. But what I'm saying is to you that human communication is the most precious thing if the God has given you the talent of communication. What is communication? and particularly the performers, the trained and not so trained performers who act in front of camera, who act in front of television, and now on social media in front of telephone, making reels. That is the reality. I mean, this is the 21st century wonderful invention. The reels people are uploading, whether it's 2-minute reel, a minute reel, or 2-minute reel, about whatever they're doing, and indeed that is something that catching people's eye. And sometimes, when you are forced to wait, such as at the reception of a dentist, or a reception of a GP, or waiting for somebody to meet somebody, you just take it out of the phone and you start scrolling. And that was not the case before the invention of this iPhone, mobile phone, and things like that, when people are just, picking up the newspaper, picking up the magazine and talking about reading through it. Nobody reads anymore. That's the sad aspect of the new development of that. Everybody, if you go somewhere and you see few people are sitting and waiting to be seen, to be talked to, and to be visited, or whatever, as I said, whatever the circumstances is, or waiting to collect your item at the restaurant or something, you just take out the phone and you start scrolling. So while you're actually scrolling, if you're hooked up with a particular thing, such as Apna Radio, and if you are hooked up with Rouhani and myself, and then you probably will be following us, doesn't matter where you are and wherever you are, and you'll be looking forward to the second episode, a third episode, and we will on and on continue our discussion about these things, because I'm gung-ho about these kind of items, because, as I said, human communication is the most important thing in order to live a life. If you live a life of a peaceful mind, free of tension, free of anxiety, we are already struggling in our lives to make the lives interesting. We all work. Work is a sanity. In fact, in order to save your sanity, you work. But even if you don't work, you need something to do since morning, noon, and night. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you go to bed at the night, you brush your teeth. Why am I obsessed with brushing of teeth? This is another thing. And the observation. I do observe things in real. Say for instance, if you're uploading a lead, make sure that if it's a close-up of your hand, that your hands are very well manicured, painted, look beautiful. Your hands should look beautiful, and similarly, if anything in close-up or anything is visible, because nothing like turning off the close-up of a person, you are uploading it on your reel and you're not looking gorgeous. Anyway, so this is just my thinking, my crazy mind. And me and Rouhani ji will be, Rouhani Sahiba, I would say, Rouhani Sahiba will be uploading our question and answer, and then we will be broadcasting that as a part of our program. So that's exciting. I'm happy about it. I'm very excited to introduce this wonderful new series of things, and hopefully our listeners would like it too. And of course, it'll be uploaded on YouTube. Rouhani Sahiba will, share it on her social media. I'll share it with my social media and things like that. Between us, we will have a good few thousands, I would say, good few hundreds of thousands of listeners who will be reacting to our chit-chat. That's all I can say about it. As it develops, I don't know which direction it'll develop. It's up to the gods. But it'll move, and it will have some sort of an effect on the listeners. Anyway, time to take another track. What can I say? These are the songs of the soul of the film industry, and they will evergreen song. They will never go out of interest, and people who are born in this kind of era to listen to these songs, not even those who are not even born before these songs, they also like it. And that is a very, very interesting part of our film industry. Songs are the souls of our lives, and without songs, films are not really complete. But there are top of films, there are top of, kind of films and kind of, actors like Nasiruddin Shah, who said, the song sucks, sucks. What do you mean by sucks? It's an American expression. I hate that. People can't, songs is the way to merrymaking yourself. Celebration. When you get married, when you get engaged, when you get to celebrate anything, you sing a song, and that is part and parcel of the so-called Indian culture. In fact, it's not only Indian. In every culture you have song, and people do merrymake and enjoy the song. So anyway, so bye for now. Have a great weekend if you are enjoying yourself, having a get together, going out for dinner, or whatever you're doing it. Enjoy the life as much as you can, because it is short. Bye for now.
कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है, कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है कि जैसे तुझको बनाया गया है मेरे लिए, कि जैसे तुझको बनाया गया है मेरे लिए। तू अब से पहले सितारों में बस रही थी कहीं, तू अब से पहले सितारों में बस रही थी कहीं। तुझे ज़मीं पे बुलाया गया है मेरे लिए, तुझे ज़मीं पे बुलाया गया है मेरे लिए। कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है कि ये बदन ये निगाहें मेरी अमानत है, कि ये बदन ये निगाहें मेरी अमानत है। ये गेसुओं की घनी छाँव है मेरी खातिर, ये होठ और ये बाहें मेरी अमानत है, ये होठ और ये बाहें मेरी अमानत है। कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है कि जैसे बजती हैं शहनाइयाँ सी राहों में, कि जैसे बजती हैं शहनाइयाँ सी राहों में। सुहाग रात है घूंघट उठा रहा हूँ मैं, सुहाग रात है घूंघट उठा रहा हूँ मैं। सिमट रही है तू शर्मा के अपनी बाहों में, सिमट रही है तू शर्मा के अपनी बाहों